Hello, YouTubers out there. This is Jerry Saravia to Movies. So today we're going to talk briefly about a film called The Eagle Has Landed, which I've heard about in the past. Came out in 1976. And now, this is one of those films that doesn't really fall in line with some of the war pictures from that same period, like A Bridge Too Far or The Wild Geese, that sort of thing. Obviously, it has to do with World War II, and we have a cast that includes Michael Caine, Robert Duvall, Donald Pleasance, and Donald Sutherland. So, great cast, but it is hard to know what to make of this movie. And the reason is because, aside from Donald Sutherland, Robert Duvall and everyone else, they all play Nazis. And, or at the very least, German officers. We'll just put it that way. But of course, we know what they really are. And their mission under the being given by Robert Duvall, who plays a German officer, which is really the weirdest casting I can think of, is it's a mission from Hitler, essentially. And so let's backtrack. So Hitler wants to have Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill kidnapped and brought to Germany, which sounds ridiculous. But okay. And of course, Hitler also wanted the Ark of the Covenant. And I think in reality, the Holy Grail. And you know what that reminds you of. But nevertheless. So they get 16 German paratroopers. They're all spies except for Donald Sutherland, who's an IRA member. So he's sort of he's an ally. So all these Germans together, they go to this village, they infiltrate this village, they know Winston Churchill might be there. That's the story. Now the film is, I got to say, entertaining. I mean, I sort of enjoyed it. It's probably a little bit too long in certain stretches. It's a 2-hour and 3-minute movie. But the thing is that while I was watching it, I was sort of rooting for the Germans. And that's weird because we don't see the American side, or at least we see sort of a battle going on at some point, or some of the other allies with the United States, during World War II. But the weird thing about the movie is that it's telling you to root for these guys. And of course, spoiler alert, but who cares, it's 1976, the mission fails, because the person they end up killing is a body double for Winston Churchill. So that's your little twist ending. So, but I was sort of rooting for these guys. I mean, how can you not root for Michael Caine? I mean, they don't really play them too, how can I put it? They don't come across as too evil, which is an interesting choice. I mean, not really. And they just call them German officers, but again, they're part of Nazi Germany. I mean, it's Hitler after all. So what are we talking about here? So I this is a short review because I don't know really what to make of this movie. I was sort of rooting for them, and you think at first, because I didn't know much about this movie, so I thought at first, well, maybe they're not really Germans, but they're spies for the British or somebody else, pretending to be German. But no, Michael Caine is an actual German. Robert Duvall plays a German. Heinrich Himmler is played by Donald Pleasance. They're all German except for Donald Pleasance. For Donald Sutherland. So it's just strange watching a movie where you seem to have a rooting interest in them succeeding, doing something that, wait a minute, no, we're not on their side. I mean, nowadays it's, one of those things where we won't get into the hate that's going on nowadays, particularly the neo-Nazi group. This is not what we're talking about. But it's interesting that this film came out then, and was sort of just, I mean, it's not really a problematic film. I wouldn't put it on that list with Birth of a Nation or anything like that, because the movie is sort of cartoonish. So I didn't take it too seriously. And I didn't write a review for this one. I might still, because I have a Michael Caine blog, where really for the last 10 years, I had decided to, because he is a really great actor, I've decided that any Michael Caine film I see, I will review from here on in, and including stuff I've already seen and eventually review them. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever, for the rest of my life, be able to review every single film, but nonetheless, any new film I see or anything I haven't seen by Michael Caine, which is still a few films, obviously, I will review. So this one was the latest one, but I was still I was just lost in understanding what the filmmakers, including the director, which I believe is John Sturges, if I'm not mistaken. So let me double check. I really should have researched this a little bit. John Sturges, this was his last film. And John Sturges is known for making films like The Great Escape, Bad Day, Black Rock, Magnificent Seven, Gunfight at the OK Corral. These are all terrific movies, especially Bad Day, Black Rock, by the way. That's a fantastic movie. You want to see a really great film with a great cast and somebody you actually can root for, to Spencer Tracy, Bad Day, Black Rock. So it's hard for me to gauge. I'm still sort of thinking, like, what can I really say about this movie, The Eagle Has Landed, if I write a review, which I will, but I'm not sure how to really put it, because it's entertaining, it's cartoonish, and so I can't take it seriously. I mean, these are not, they don't come across as murderous German spies or German paratroopers, for that matter, as well. They just, you know, it's Michael Caine, and it's kind of, and Donald Sutherland is sort of a fascinating character. I mean, they played him sort of as caricatures, but with a little bit of humanity. But nonetheless, it's sort of just cartoonish, you know. I think there's a glimmer of humanity, particularly Donald Sutherland's character. Anyway, if any of you have seen this movie, The Eagle Has Landed, tell me what you think and what you really got out of it, because I'm not really sure what to say about the film. You know, again, I'm not calling it a Leni Riefenstahl Triumph of the Will type movie. It's not that. It's not on a fictional, nonfiction basis, if you like. It's not Birth of a Nation, but what is it? I was sort of rooting for these guys. How weird. And then halfway through, I thought, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be rooting for these guys. Why am I rooting for them to do this? So it's a schizophrenic movie, I guess. It puts you in a schizophrenic frame of mind. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are about 1976 film, The Eagle Has Landed. What you thought of it, if you've ever seen it, or if you haven't, or whatever. Let me your thoughts. That's all I got to say about this movie. This is usually, I carry a lot more weight and depth into what I have to say, but this is kind of a weird one to discuss. But I wanted to sort of improvise something, see what you think. So let me your thoughts, and if you like what you hear, please subscribe to my channel. And this is Jerry Saravia at the Movies, signing off.